if chimpanzees have these certain sorts of rights, bodily integrity and bodily liberty, well, you couldn't use them in biomedical research. You couldn't keep them in zoos the way we keep them in zoos now. You'd basically have to treat them as you would, say, as a rule of thumb, I hold up my thumb, as like a 3 or 4 year old human child. You'd have to treat them in ways that respected their interest, and you do things, for them. So chimpanzees could not be in zoos. Chimpanzees could not be in biomedical research institutions as well. Any animal who had the right, whether human or not, to bodily integrity, could not have their bodily integrity violated. Bodily integrity is essentially an assault and battery. You can't be the subject of an unconsented to touching. So you can't be touched, whether that's to cut your head off or to punch you or to inject you. You just can't, unless it's in your interests. So many of the animals that I've written about are animals that are not indigenous to the United States, and of which there are relatively few of them. African gray parrots, African elephants, the 4 species of great apes, dolphins. So if you gave the basic right to bodily integrity and bodily liberty, there would be certain ramifications. You couldn't keep them in zoos or aquariums. You couldn't use them in biomedical research. You'd have to act in a way that respected them. So there would not be enormous changes with respect to those kinds of animals, but there would certainly have to be some. I mean, you could keep animals captive, because you have to be. You have to. We know, or we've never been able to really return captive chimpanzees to the wild. So if all of a sudden a chimpanzee had a right to bodily liberty, bodily integrity, we'd have to treat him or her in a way, the best way we could in the United States. We certainly could not just open the doors in the U.S. or return them to Africa.